This is Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for tuning in to another edition of Driving Solutions, exclusively right here at CBTNews.com and now streaming on Roku and Apple TV. On today's show, we are pleased to welcome back Mr. Todd Katcher. You've seen him here before at CBT News. He's the managing partner of Digital Dealership System to discuss why digital dashboard solutions are the key to increasing dealership profitability. He's got some great news for you guys, so listen up. He's working on some really cool stuff. I've seen it, I've heard about it. As you guys know, I used to be a dealer. I wish I had this kind of stuff in my dealership. So Todd, thank you so much for coming back to the show.
Always good to be here. Thanks for having me here, Jim.
Sure. Last time you were in, we talked about the boards that you had that were really consumer facing. You know what I mean? And you do a phenomenal job on that. But what I'm most excited about to talk to you about today is the stuff that you've been working on that's really more internal facing for the team and the staff that's in the dealership, right?
Yeah, we've seen a real shift in the dealerships when it comes to technology. So we've actually spent the last year completely reformatting our company to have consumer-facing products and manager-facing products. Right. It's just been a big boom for us in the interest from dealers in these digital leaderboards that we've developed based on their needs. Yeah. And we've actually worked with fixed ops directors, BDC directors, and platform managers to really understand their needs to create our new products that we're bringing to NADA this year that we're putting under the envelope of digital dashboards.
Okay.
And we've really separated our products to have digital signs, which is what we've chatted about before, which is in the service drive, the lounge, and customer-facing stuff that enhances their experience and increases profitability from a consumer spend side. Sure. But as far as motivating staff, we call those other systems digital dashboard as a umbrella program that we go ahead and market to dealers as a package or as individual products.
Okay, so give me an example. Let's drill down a little bit. What would be some of the things we might find on those internal boards?
Yeah, the first thing we want to focus on is that we have 3 different types of boards for different parts of the dealership from a management standpoint. So we have the sales, fixed ops, and BDC.
Wow.
And we're integrated with every DMS, and we're currently integrated with 5 different CRMs.
Nice.
So what happens is that with dealerships have products, right? They have CRMs, they have DMS, they have dashboards, but those systems are primarily for managers or owners. And they're not dynamic, meaning that whenever you look at a report, it updates, but it's not doing that automatically.
Yeah.
So we're pulling from their DMS or CRM and showing it on large screens, on desktops, and mobile devices.
Nice. In real time.
In real time, correct.
Wow, that's a huge differentiator right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because a lot of dealers, like if I was going to put a report on a screen from the CRM or from a Google Doc, I have to manually update that or refresh the screen in some way, and ours will automatically update. In addition, we have some dealers that have 15 different reports rotating on one board that's in a conference room, a manager's office, or a general manager's office that shows data that they want to see that's relevant specific to where that screen is in their store. Right.
What if a dealer has got multiple locations? Yeah. Can they then tie that into their their war room, if you will, or their conference room to say, here's what's going on at all the different stores?
Yeah, so a great question. We call that enterprise. Okay. So we have an enterprise version of each of those different columns, if you will. So sales, enterprise, and we have an enterprise version for the fixed ops and for BDC. Okay. And so they could see the key dynamics or key KPIs for each store. So at the store level, you're looking at salesperson versus salesperson, right? Or tech versus tech, or advisor versus advisor, or performance advisor, BDC rep versus BDC rep.
That's right.
From a manager standpoint, from a platform manager or a multiple store GM, they want to know how each store maybe is performing. Yeah. And so that's what enterprise does. Okay. And they can pick and choose the reports they want, because sometimes they want to know the dynamics of each store on that same board, but then we also give them the aggregate as well.
That's fantastic. I mean, that seemed to me would be a game changer for a lot of dealers, because I think I'm probably like most dealers, where you want to see it up in front, right? You want it right there when you're walking by, and you're in the conference room, you're in your own office, and you've got the boards up there, rather than having to turn to your computer and hunt it all down. Right.
Yeah, a lot of dealers will go ahead. When we were asking dealers what they were looking for, we always ask them, what are you currently doing? Right. And a lot of them are doing reports after the fact. So they look at their reports and they say, well, yesterday you did this, or in fixed ops, sometimes they only look at it weekly or even monthly, and they look at the past month.
Right, it's just historical data.
And what you're looking at is that the compensation for a salesperson, a tech, or an advisor, or BDC is based on their daily performance.
Right.
Not their yesterday's performance.
Right.
It's like to look at to when you get your paycheck at the end of the month and you didn't hit your bonuses.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think, hey, you know what, a week out, 2 weeks out, it would have been known for like what your percent to goal is?
Yeah.
So that way you could maybe change your attitude a little bit and change your percentage, or maybe push a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Or if you see your coworker who you're out there chatting with,
Yep.
and you guys are at the bottom of the list and you're out there taking smoke breaks.
That's right.
You know, how often are you guys, if you can see your name on the board, is that going to be a
and
motivator
also that
for you?
You know, the GM and the dealer are looking at your name on the board.
Well, they're always
right?
looking at it,
Yes,
right?
Yeah,
they're always looking at their
No
top and low performers.
Yeah, for sure.
And so this opportunity puts it right in front so they can't miss it.
Yeah.
And then we also have the mobile app. That we actually have an actual mobile app that on the app stores that allows each individual salesperson, tech, and advisor to log in and only see their information, but they also see where they rank. They don't see their colleagues and their production on there because of security purposes and just dealer data purposes.
Sure.
But if the dealership opts to give that access to their individual staff,
Right.
they could go ahead and log in and see how they're performing, and they get notifications. So let's say that they're on the sales side and they're logged in.
Yeah.
If anybody in the store sells a vehicle, everybody who's on the mobile app gets a notification. Bob just sold a car. Basically,
That's
like,
cool.
what are you doing?
Yes, that's exactly
And it's
right.
automated. So what we wanted to do with the system is that dealers have all these tools available to them.
Okay.
There's great programs out there that are extremely expensive,
Yeah.
but they're great at what they do on an analytical.
Sure.
And then you have the manual systems when a dealer puts in the information themselves.
Right.
We want to be somewhere in the middle where we're affordable, starting at $4.99 a month.
$4.99 a month. That's
Correct,
it.
including integrations. In order to go ahead and put this data in front of them.
Wow.
And then they can pick and choose the modules that they want.
Sure.
And that it automatically updates directly from the DMS or CRM and shows them the data that's most important to them.
That's crazy. I mean, $4.99 a month. This is a no-brainer.
It should be.
If I was back on the retail side, you'd be the first call I'd be making, because this is the kind of information that dealers and managers want to manage their dealerships better in real time. You know, especially when it's a competitive environment that we're in right now, like never before.
Yeah, we've seen dealers who have had as much as a 30 to 40% increase in sales after putting it on the board. And there's sales trainers out there all the time that say, if you don't track it, then how do you know where you stand?
That's right.
And then everybody tracks.
Yeah.
But when do you share that information with the team?
That's right.
You know, and by putting goals, like there are some dealerships that have goals based on how many calls you make in a day, how many, they break it down. We have and to different a lot of different KPIs. So it's not just total sales; it's what your effort is to get the sales.
How many ups? How many write-ups? How many demo drives? How many deals did you desk? How many? For sure.
Yeah. So by putting that on the board and then allowing them to customize it further with their own reports, they go ahead and see all the performance, and they know. Remember that these people, the majority of the people that work in the dealership, their compensation is tied to performance.
That's right.
So whether it's on the sales or fixed ops or in the BDC, they have different measurables: dollar per RO, efficiency, effective labor rate, hours, all these types of different things. Yeah. Depending on the department, they all have measurables, and we're pulling it every 15 minutes from the DMS. So it's constantly getting updated throughout the day. So you have an attitude problem today, you show up for work and you put 0 up on the board, everybody knows it.
That's right.
We don't have to wait till the end of the month to go ahead and evaluate you. We're doing it on a 15-minute basis.
Does it cover F&I as well?
We do have an F&I product, but there's limitations on the integration side for that they break down that integration separately, but we do have some finance products built in based on the sales.
Wow, that is fantastic. So for dealers that are managing their stores today, you know, so many managers are out there and they're managing inventories, they're managing ad budgets, they're managing people, millions of dollars every single month. But yet they've really never been schooled or trained on how to be a manager in many cases. Many of the managers I talked to, I was one of them. It was just like, nobody sent me to manager school. You know, maybe a few days of having somebody come in, but it's tools like this that make it a heck of a lot easier, right?
It does.
Even your desk manager.
Well, when I talk to dealers, I say, hey, how often are you meeting with your staff to go over their performance?
Right.
and their goals for the month.
Yeah.
And
Once a
some
week.
once a month.
Once a month, yeah, I was
So
going to say.
they're setting their goals once a month.
Right.
And so they have an evaluation. I said, well, why don't you evaluate this system allows you to evaluate them on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I said, how do you, with a percent to goal, you know at the 15th of the month how close they are to their goal.
That's right.
It's right on the board.
Yeah.
And you know how their CSI is because it's right on the board.
That's right.
So you know and they know. So there's transparency between it because the hierarchy in management can be a problem, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
Of course.
because I have this information, you can't see it.
Yeah.
But transparency also creates an environment where there's a lot more trust.
That's right.
And people enjoy their job a lot more.
That's right.
And they see that the dealer's investing in the staff
Yeah.
with this board, and once they get it, they love it.
That's right. And I've been in environments where some of the pros on the team will actually help the other people if they know that they're in trouble. You know what I mean? To say, hey, I'm only at 3 cars on the 15th, and I've put up there that I'm going to do 12 cars this month. You know, I've been in a situation where I've helped some of those, green peas or those newbies close deals or what have you, and so that information becomes very useful, doesn't it?
Well, just like what you said about managers. How do you know to help somebody if you don't know that they're struggling?
That's right.
So you go ahead and say, hey, we met at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
We determined based on your last 3 months' performance, which we show them in our system.
Yeah.
We say, hey, you're tracking here. What do you want your goal to be this month?
Yeah.
We agree to that goal for gross or for units or for whatever the other KPIs are.
Right.
And halfway through the month, I see on the board, or a week, or a day goes by, and it doesn't show that you put any numbers on the board.
Right.
We could have that conversation and say, how could I help you?
That's right.
As opposed to at the end of the month.
End of the month, you can't help them.
You're accusatory. What happened to you?
That's right.
And so as a manager, it's better to try to help somebody be successful than to degrade them to try to be successful.
That's
because
right. Good point.
that negativity doesn't always work for people. Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'd rather be coached up than put down.
That's right.
But some people are different. But I think that from a manager standpoint, I bet if you went to manager school, they probably teach you to coach up, not coach down.
There's no question. So for the dealers that are listening to this right now, how long does something like this take to install? Is it a quick turnaround? Or
Yeah,
what does
so
that look
if
like?
someone signs up today, we're going to get a system customized and sent out to them within 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
And they could, there's a lot of different nuances that come into that, but they'd use their screens. A lot of dealers have a screen already.
Okay.
So we don't mandate screens for them. If they need us to do an install, we have a team that we can do that with, but in most situations, the dealerships have the team internally that can go ahead and connect to a TV, or they'll go buy $500 TV and connect it. There's not the technology side of that aspect of it on a single screen like this is very easy.
For sure.
It's just a matter of really where they want to put it. We have some stores that want to have something in a conference room because our system is interactive as well.
Okay.
So if they had a wireless mouse and they had a presentation that was running through 10, 15, 20 reports.
Nice.
They could pause that presentation at any time to speak about a slide and then manually scroll through the next slide.
Okay.
And then when they walk away, it will automatically start running through the slides again.
Or if in the event somebody takes more time off in a month, you could change, with a mouse click, you could change their objective for the month.
You can.
And then
You
it
can do
would
that on the
change
desktop.
Yeah.
So the system comes with different components. You have the screen that's going to show the reports. We have the desktop that shows different reports than are on the screen.
Okay.
But you also have access. So if you have a general manager that's in his office and he doesn't doesn't have the particular, that doesn't have a screen in their office, they have it in a manager tower, they still have access to all the reports.
Right, okay.
And then they have access to additional reports as well, depending on the program that they're on.
Okay.
And so you may have a general manager who has a system in their office that has sales, but they are interested in fixed ops, and they have that as well, so they could always mix and match.
Okay.
So that availability for them to make changes on the fly, they could update the ticker that scrolls across the bottom throughout the day. They could update the goals or the CSI as often as they want, and our screen, if they update it in the desktop program, our screen will update within an hour.
Yeah. There's nothing that drives me crazier than when I walk into a car dealership and I see the glass divider, partition in a sales manager's office, and I see the little square with the
numbers
X through it,
Yep.
And the numbers up there, and it's like, this is 2024. Are we still doing this, people in this industry? What are you doing? It looks so cheesy, right?
They have they build this round off to a $10 million facility, and they put up a dry erase board. It's like,
what are we doing?
It's like the thought of technology implemented into their process. A lot of them, as you know, have done the same thing year after year after year.
That's
I've been
right.
in the business for 20 years, and
This is the way I do
this
it.
is the way I do it.
Yeah.
And what happens is that that's great, and they may have been successful with that, but the staff that they're bringing on They don't. They all have cell phones.
That's right. They're all looking at the whiteboard going, are you kidding me?
I had to manually write this. Most of them don't have good handwriting.
No.
So we actually had one store who was paying someone just to update their dry erase board every day. Because they would literally wipe it down every single day because they'd have different performers.
That's unbelievable.
And it was like they thought it was an honor, in their opinion, to have the top performer from last year, or excuse me, from last month, would remain on top for the whole next month, and that was like an honor for them on their dry erase board. It's like they create like whacked out incentives to go ahead and rationalize their antiquated mindset versus having a digital board that has 20 reports rotating in there, desktop, mobile, everything else for a minimal amount of money.
That is a state-of-the-art dealership. You know, it's funny when you hear so many people use that term, state-of-the-art dealership, when you walk in and you're like, you're putting the stuff on the glass or the whiteboard. What are you talking about?
I think state-of-the-art just means that they just built it. It doesn't mean that they did anything special to the store whatsoever.
It just means they have a fancy coffee machine.
Well, they often spend more money on the coffee machine than anything else.
Do you know that's exactly right? They do. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. It's amazing how much money this industry has at the dealer level for advertising, for conquest customers, for digital marketing, for everything else. When it comes to things like this and sales training and things that internally will definitely help you sell more cars and add more to the bottom line, they're like, oh, no.
Yeah, well, I think it's like the live by the door, die by the door mentality, and they don't have anyone to blame if it's internal, right. So if they spend $100,000 a month to drive traffic in, and they don't make sales, they blame the people, the leads, right? It's never the inside process.
No, never.
But we recommend dealers spend 2 to 3% of their budget inside the store.
Yeah.
And whether that's digital signs, dashboards, the customer experience, right? And it really does make your store stand out and raises you to that state of the art. Because if you just have a bunch of screens in your store, we talked to a dealer the other day, they're brand new store. It was a $15 million build, something like that. I don't remember the franchise off the top of my head, but it was in the Dallas area, a brand new store, and they said they have 20 screens throughout the store. Okay, what's on those screens?
Yeah.
And they said cable TV.
You got to be kidding me.
That's 20 TVs, and I said, "Are you a sports bar or a car dealership?"
That's exactly right.
And they had no screens in their managers' offices, no screens in the in the sales offices. They just had screens like it was like a sports bar.
That is crazy.
And you can't
and they were proud of that.
They were boasting.
Yeah, right.
And I had the conversation with them because they were like, they saw some marketing that we did, and they said, "Well, what would you do?" And I'm like, well, there's a lot. When you combine the screens together, you create an experience for the customers and the staff, and you motivate them, and and you make your store different. If you have these TVs throughout your store showing cable, then you're distracting the sales process.
Yes.
And odds are you're going to have competitors on there.
I was just going to say, there's no question somebody's going to be sitting there waiting for their car and go, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know that Walmart has got the same thing, Jiffy Lube or whatever.
Right. Or you go ahead and say, they entice you with this like $2.99 per month offer that you don't qualify for. Right. And you're getting beat up by the salesperson, right? And you don't qualify for it. It's legit that you have to pay more.
I know.
And then you see that ad on the TV again for the exact same brand that you're for there, and you're like, "That's what I came in for."
That's right.
And then the next one is an alternative vehicle. You're like, "Well, then I'm going to go there and check it out, or I'm going to go to another dealer."
That's exactly right.
So it's really it's one thing to say state of the art.
Yeah.
It's actually what you're doing with the technology.
That's right.
Everybody has a cell phone. What do you do with it? Everybody has a computer. What do you do with it? There are people creating really cool stuff with technology.
Yeah.
And there are people who don't know how to get on the internet, but they have a computer.
Yeah.
Isn't
that crazy?
There's a wide diversity of people who say state of the art or progressive dealer is another terminology that we hear a lot. And it's just because they signed up for some widget. And they think they're progressive.
But it should be said that digital dealership system is still in the consumer-facing stuff for the dealers that want that.
Yeah, good point.
In terms of through their waiting rooms and showrooms and things like that.
Yeah, so from the service drive to the lounge, a showroom, we did Brian Benstock, friend of yours. We just this past year, we did his the #1 Honda store in the country, Paragon Honda.
Yep.
We did his store, we did his used car store, and then they just bought White Plains Honda.
Wow.
And we did video walls over there and in his used car building as well.
Wow.
So we've done a bunch of stuff this year with Brian, and we've been partners with him previously at his Acura store and his used car store buildings.
Okay.
But it was an opportunity here where they wanted to renovate. Corporate Honda was coming in and they wanted to do a bunch of things prior to that to spruce up the store, modernize it, and we went over and completely changed his in-store experience at the Honda store.
I was just going to say that the OEMs must love this because it brings their dealership and their franchise into the 21st century versus walking in and going, I can't believe we're still using whiteboards and glass, right?
Yeah, there's a discrepancy there a little bit when it comes to OEMs because sometimes the OEM wants to push their initiative and every dealer wants to have their own messaging.
Yeah, of course.
So in a particular area, let's just say in a DMA that's very congested, like the Dallas area. I just said Dallas. So in Dallas, how many Ford stores do you have in Dallas? Or how many Toyota stores? There's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So the dealership wants to go ahead and be unique to other dealerships in the area, but corporate wants everyone to be the same. So we've actually had some success in dealerships who push back against the corporate programs and then want to do more and will pay more for it.
Yeah.
Remember, with a lot of times with those OEM programs, the dealerships aren't getting the support because the vendor has an agreement with the manufacturer.
Yeah, they're the captive.
Exactly. So they don't have to provide the support because their customer is actually the OEM and not the individual dealer. So we've gotten calls from dealerships who want to push aside the manufacturer requirement to get things like our integrated solutions and our dashboard solutions and things like that. And they'll pay more for it because they have that, they could make their store unique.
Right.
So we still do the consumer facing stuff. We split our company up into two different segments for the dashboard programs and then the digital sign services, where the digital signs are going to be consumer facing and dashboard is going to be the management staff facing.
But you are the go-to for both. I mean, that way the dealer just says, okay, I got a guy, you're going to handle both of that.
Yeah, just this past week we had three stores actually in the Vegas area that I'll see when we go out for NADA who signed up for our programs, and they have stuff for their drives, stuff for the lounge, and dashboards as well. So it's kind of the GM saw the idea that we have about having one vendor handle the whole system. Yeah,
fantastic. So you're going to be in the West Hall, 4547. Write that down. It's also on the screen right here. Folks, the $4.99 a month. We need to talk about that because that's too low. $4.99 a month. If you listen, if you do this, and here's what I suggest you do as a dealer: go out into your showrooms, and your conference rooms and your desk area, where your managers are and what have you. Of course, you want to give them the best tools they can to make you more money. All right. Look around and see what they're currently using, all right? If you're 100% happy with that and you don't think you need to be brought into the 21st century like your competitors are doing, your consumers want it, your staff wants it, and the OEMs want something like this in your store to really make it shine and add more dollars to the bottom line. This isn't just a fluff thing. This is so that you know in real time where that dealership is at all times. So I'm so passionate about this kind of product for your stores. You owe it to yourself. Listen, if you do it and it's $4.99 a month and you rip it out in 30 days, I'll give you the $4.99.
Sounds like a good guarantee. We're going to put that in the agreement.
That's right. No, I mean, it's a no-brainer. You will spend more in the first night at NADA at the bar at $4.99, and have nothing to show for it except a few hangovers, So check out Todd Katcher. He's a managing partner at Digital Dealer Systems. They're at NADA. We can't make it any simpler. There's a link right below this video that you're watching. You can click it and start early. So Todd, thank you so much for coming.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for the time.
Thanks for watching Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.